Welcome to our channel Creative Minds. In this lecture, we are going to discuss some postulates of quantum mechanics. According to the postulate 1 of the quantum mechanics, the state of the quantum mechanical system is completely specified by a wave function psi rt that depends on the coordinates of the particle r and on time. This function, called the wave function or the state function, has some important property that the probability that the particle lies in the volume element dx, dy and dz located at r at time t is given by this equation as psi star rt, which is the conjugate of the wave function psi, into psi rt wave function and the coordinates of the wave function dx, dy, dz. If there is more than one particle, say 2, then we can write the same equation separately for the particle 1 and 2, as here the conjugate of the wave function psi is written for the particle 1 and 2 as specified by r1 and r2, and wave function psi again by r1 and r2, and for the particle for the probability that the particle 1 lies in the volume element dx1, dy1, dz1 at r1 and dx2, dy2, dz2 shows the probability of the particle 2 lies in the volume dx1, dx2, dy2, dz2 at r2 and time t. For the postulate 1 says we can take the example as the state of the quantum mechanical system such as the two electrons is completely specified by this wave function and nothing else is required. While the postulate 2 states that to every observable in classical mechanics there corresponds a linear operator in quantum mechanics. For example, angular momentum L, which is given as L is equal to mvr. Just like linear momentum, the angular momentum is actually a vector quantity. If the particle is at some point r and has momentum p, then its angular momentum is defined by L is equal to r cross p. The postulate 3 states that in any measurement of the observable associated with the operator, such as operator A, the only value that will ever be observed are the eigenvalues of A, which satisfy the eigenvalue equation. Here, as you can see in this equation, the operator A operates on the wave function psi, and here A is the eigenvalue of the wave function psi, and we get the wave function psi back. So this is the eigenvalue equation. To further explain the postulate 3, let us take the example of Hamiltonian operator. The operator corresponding to the energy is called the Hamiltonian operator, and its eigenvalue equation is written as Hamiltonian psi is equal to E of psi. We have discussed it in our previous lecture that Hamiltonian operator is the energy operator and it operates on the wave function psi. We get energy E as eigenvalue and the wave function back. So that's why it is called as the eigenvalue equation for the case of the particle in a box, and E and the eigen energy value has the value has the equation equals to n square h square over 8m square. Now coming to the postulate 4 of the quantum mechanics, if the system is in a state described by a normalized wave function psi, then the average value of the observable corresponding to the operator A is given as, here A is the average value of the operator A, and the operator A is written in between the conjugate of the wave function psi star and the wave function psi, and it is integrated over all the space by taking the limits from minus infinity to infinity. But if we were to measure the energy of each member of a collection of a similarly prepared system, as described in the previous slide, each described by the psi, then the average of the observed value is given by, let's suppose for the operator A, it is given as operator A is equal to Hamiltonian operator. Now we will look into the concept of average value, that what is meant by average value. When the state of the function is not an eigen function of operator B, then the measurement of B will give one of the member of the possible values, the eigenvalues of operator B. Now if we consider the average value of the property B for a system whose state is psi, To find the average value of B experimentally, we take many identical non-interacting systems, each in the same state, and we measure the B in each system. Then the average value of the B symbolized by this symbol is defined as the arithmetic mean of the observed values B1, B2 to Bn, and it is written here that the average value of B is given as the arithmetic mean of the observed values of B1, B2 to Bn by symbolizing it that j is equal to 1 to n bj over n. Instead of summing over the observed values of B, we can sum over all the possible values of B by multiplying each of the possible value by the number of the time it is observed. As here in this equation you can see that the average value of B is taken by taking the arithmetic mean of the B by multiplying it with NB, which is the number of the time the value of B is observed. Now by considering the average value of the x coordinate for a one particular one dimensional system in the state psi xt, the x coordinate takes on a continuous range of the values, and the probability of observing the particle lies between x and x plus tx, and it is written as taking the square of the psi wave function. The summation over the infinitesimal probabilities is equivalent to integration over the full range of x, and the equation becomes here as in this you can see the average value of x is equal to the square of the wave function psi xt into x dA by taking it limits from minus infinity to infinity. For the one particle three-dimensional case, the probability of finding the particle in the volume element at point x, y, and z with the edges d, x, dy, and dz is written as shown in this equation. If we want the probability that the particle is between x and x plus dx, we must integrate the equation over all the possible values of y and z, since the particle can have any values for its y and z coordinates, while its x coordinates lies between x and x plus dx in the three-dimensional case, as you can see it in this equation. We will discuss another exciting topic of quantum mechanics, which is the particle on a ring, in our coming lecture.